At the end, my team, I would say that I divide my week like into four bins. The most important bin is my staff. So having all this, because I have 30 people, 32 people that I have to deal with. I have a structure. I have two very nice directors that take care of the daily operations with all the team. But at the end, you have to take care of your people. So
Yeah.
my first being will be everything that I do that deals with my staff, and it's obviously supporting them, answering questions, coaching them in terms of how we are operating with a customer or how we are pre-selling a project. Sometimes it's training them. I take many of the trainings that we get from WSI, and then I tropicalize them, and then I train them. So my first being will be time dedicated to my staff. The second one will be the customers. I still enjoy a lot going out with customers.
Right.
I enjoy more when I am doing the pre-sale and selling process. Once it's operational, I do go to some of the review meetings. Depending on the size of the customer, they should be between every month to every 3 months, once a quarter, once a month. And for the most important customers, I will try to join those meetings to get the sense and the feeling of the customer. And amazingly, I am still like the guy that detects upselling opportunities easier. Sometimes when I do not go to a meeting, my staff comes back. They are very happy because I presented good results. But at the end, I ask them, did you sell anything else? No. Come on, you work with the customer 2 hours showing metrics, showing results, and you didn't sell anything else. So sometimes I go there because I can detect the opportunity and then talk the customer into building some upselling and try to grow the account. So that's one of the reasons I go with existing customers, but I enjoy more going on sales calls, presenting to the customer, and doing all that negotiation phase with customers. So that's my second being, going out with customers.
Right.
The third thing I dedicate time to is, clerical stuff that we have to do, banks, taxes, invoicing, accountants, all that boring stuff. But at the end, even though I have delegated a lot of these things, and at the end, I spend a little bit of time on this, and supervising, and also coaching my admin people in terms of how to manage the money. Or sometimes we get big projects, we have to get banks, some bank loans to finance a project. And the fourth being, it will be strategy and looking into the future. That's one that I also enjoy a lot. Like getting into something, have the time to evaluate a new process, a new technology, a new application, and try to see how we can bring that into the business, and then eventually propose it to the customer. That's in terms of technology, and then in terms of strategy, building a business and trying to get that business to operate on its own eventually, so you can start getting those 2 or 3 or 4 weeks vacation without worrying about the business going well or
Right.
not. Needs from you to build strategy and to build processes and to build the future. And I spend a lot of time also doing that. Actually, in my work week, in my schedule, I have always two very big spaces that I block, and I label them strategy and future. And I really try to dedicate that time to define what's going to be of this business in the future, what's going to be of the technology, what are the challenges, studying other agencies, and strategy and future. So I would say my four bins, just to summarize, will be my people, then customers, then admin and clerical stuff,
Right.
and then strategy and future. That's like my work week. When I go into vacations, usually what remains on my head is strategy and future. Being on vacation and walking when you are visiting other cities or something, usually your mind starts developing on those pending issues that you want to analyze, and it's great because strategy and future are always on my mind.
Thank you for sharing that. That's important. And I think many ICs, internet consultants, who want to grow their business, they could certainly, all freely share that information. And I think the thing that you made, your fourth point, is really the never-ending learning that we have in this industry. You don't join this industry and think it's going to be the same. I think 15
Oh
years
yeah.
ago, when we started, we didn't even have ADSL, never mind fiber. Facebook wasn't around. Google was just, it was like none of that was there. And we've had to grow with the business and lead with it, the technology. So it's been a good ride, and I think it's what keeps us motivated, to keep coming back to work.
And when I talk to entrepreneurs that are thinking on joining WSI, one of the things I tell them is, do you like studying? Because if you don't like studying, reading, testing, researching, then you're not probably a fit for this business because this evolves so fast. And so, I mean, every day you get news of a new algorithm change in Facebook, a new algorithm change in Google. That by itself
Yeah.
keeps you pretty busy. And then the new things that come, the old things that die. A customer calls you and say, I saw this. And then if you haven't heard about it, you have to go really rush researching that because he heard it somewhere.
Right.
Or if you're lucky, you will say, yes, I already saw it. My feeling is that you are not ready to do this, but we will keep it on the radar for the future strategy. But this is a never-ending way of learning, and you have to really be on an attitude, on a way of being happy by researching, learning. I have a bunch of podcasts that I hear every week from people that bring you new ideas or
Right.
bring you the results of the research and gives you a lot of data. So when we talked at the beginning about the community, the WSI community,
Yeah.
one thing that happens is that eventually you start going to other communities of people that not necessarily are WSI, but that they share some joint interest, some common interest, and then you suddenly find some other WSI fellows that are already in that community because they discovered that community and they share the interest of that technology or that application. So at the end, you really need to embrace learning and embrace reading and teaching and testing things. One motto that we have is that we say that everything that, if possible, obviously, everything that we sell, we have to try it in house first. So if we discover something, we will get it, we will try it, test it in house, and then go out and sell it. But that needs learning time.
Right.
That needs processing time. So it's nice to, if we were in another sector or field that nothing happened throughout the year, we will be so bored.
You're right, and I think the whole learning and everything, and it's a big part of leading, as well. And I've watched you. We've watched each other. We've helped each other all the way through, and we got the top 25 performers board that I think both you and I, being from, let's say, third world countries, we try and benchmark ourselves against the Americans and the Canadians and the dollars and that. So it's really challenging. Now, for us to get on that board, you must have some good highlights to share. So you've obviously have something. I know you've got quite a lot because I've watched you. So tell me about some of the highlights that you've had, being as part of this network.
Well, I'm always trying to be on part of that top 25 that you just mentioned. But at the end, that top 25 deals with sales volume. If you get the sales volume, you get to the top 25 every month. If you're not, then bad month and you're not there. So, but aside from the selling volume, which is very nice because that builds into your business. Well, I have always I have also been for many years I was number one in Latin America, and then on the last years I have been one of the top three because we have our friends in Brazil that are doing an amazing job. So when they do a very good job, I'm not the one. I'm not number one, but that's okay. They are very good friends. But aside from those two like highlights that are measured in terms of sales, the other ones are a little bit more enlightening because it's how you share with the community. So I have been part of some groups that WSI forms from time to time. To like it's like a task force. Sometimes they call it alliance. Sometimes they call it consortium. But at the end, they call out to ICs that have had a good experience with certain topic or certain practice, and we try to build best practices that then can be documented and shared with the rest of the community. And that is very good because when you are part of those groups, you are sharing what you have learned, but at the same time, you're learning a lot from the rest of the people on that small group. And I have been part of the SEO, an active SEO consortium in the past. I have been part of the Google Alliance. I have been part of there's a video task force that we are trying to build on good practices for using video. We have another one that deals with EOS, which is the entrepreneurial operating system that allows you to manage and grow your business more orderly. So being part of those groups, it's a way of first giving back, because when you are part of a community, it's very important that you give back.
Right.
Second, share what you have done incorrectly or correctly and make the life easier for the ones coming a little bit behind you so they don't make the same mistakes. And then obviously learning and structuring your thoughts. Sometimes you do things empirically, you do things in the daily operations of the business, but you do not have time to structure and document how you've done it, because you never get to do that. And when we are part of those groups, the goal of the group at the end is to document best practices and share it with all the community. And being part of that allows me at least to really structure my thinking, and at the end, be able to have this way of documenting what I have been doing. So I think that sharing on the W side community is very, very important. And I have talked about these small groups of consortiums, alliances that we do to document best practices. But we also do a lot of, I do webinars one or twice a month. I have a webinar that I do for some groups of ICs. Then we go to the conventions where we usually get one presentation, or we help with a round table of discussion. So, and other ones like you, for example, Francois, have a lot of training, having done a lot of training throughout the world. So you even have your structured training programs that you use to train ICs. And I have, for example, I have enjoyed and I use many of your teachings. I have enjoyed your teaching throughout the years, because when you take the time to structure your knowledge and then you share with the rest of the world, there's many things that I just do the way that Francois is doing it. And I just save the rest of the time on research, and I just copy Francois, and that's it. Because now our geographies are so, as you said, so alike, that at the end I know that if you have tested something in your landscape, in your country, very probably that's very applicable to mine. When I get a best practice of the UK or Canada or US, I do have to tropicalize, because sometimes their best practices are not directly applicable to my geographies.
Right.
But when you get trainings from all over the world and all over the world from people that have experienced all sorts of economies and geographies and cultural aspects of their countries, then you get a lot of information, a lot of best practices that you can get. And being part of that, being able to share, as well as being able to receive the training from other ICs, I think that's an amazing highlight of life at WSI.
And don't forget, you're also an author of the book. I mean, that alone has been wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we are authors, co-authors of the first two books, and then there's a new one upcoming soon.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to be able to write and share in writing.
So I wrote mine in South African. Did you write yours in Spanish?
Well, on the last on it, it's yeah the last on the last books, what I did is I did all the English to Spanish translation.
Right.
I wrote an additional chapter that was like more how to apply this in Latin America. That was like the 13th chapter
Yeah.
of the previous book. So that chapter I wrote it in Spanish and translated it into English. And then on the new book, I decided I was going to write into English from the beginning,
Right.
and then only check styling and I did that. So in the third book, I did the original writing was already done in English. Hope it's clear when it comes out. But I know the site does a wonderful job on checking.
No, well, you've done great. So yeah, you've told us a lot about your business and your skills and that. So have you looked forward to like the next year and the next 5 years? So what do you see? I mean, you're building quite a big business and you're very involved in it. What are the things that you're going to bring into the business or you want to accomplish?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is I'm always, and I think in the last years more, some of the services that we have built in the past tend to become commodities. You know, some technology comes out, you're the only one that knows it. There's a little bit of mystery. You go to the customers, you are like, wow, this guy knows something that we don't. But then with time, all this knowledge in the market spreads, and many of the things that we used to do with big profits in the past, now they don't have as much profit because they become commodities. So one of my challenge is how do I maintain my company into the future, always bringing new things to my customers, because if not, I will become commodity, myself and my company. So that's one of a very important challenge, because at the end, if you become a commodity, the only thing you get is to compete by price.
Right.
And that's not something that I want to do. So that's one thing that keeps me like awakened in the nights. How do I bring new things into the business? How do I keep doing the old ones, but in a model that I can deliver them with profit and not just by price? So that's like one of the challenges that I face continuously. But other goals that I want to accomplish, I really video has become very important. So we built a video studio in the office at the end of last year, and we are learning to do live video, and we are learning to record a video, record talking heads. And that's something that I want to grow our skills more, and eventually probably have like a small crew that can go to the customer and film and record the customer on the premises. So that's something I really want to build more into video skills. Now, we have been following WSI's advice to implement the entrepreneurial operating system. That's a set of best practices to best manage your business. So that's something that I'm also now I'm in the process of having my people lead the process. We are already operating on the system, but I need them to lead, not be me the one that's leading. That's my second challenge. And every year we have like the challenge of bringing new logos to our customer base, big important enterprise logos. So we are always seeking to bring one or two new enterprise logos into our business. When I say enterprise logos, I say, for example, Santander Bank, or I say, for example, Coca-Cola, or I would say, for example, Stanley Black and Deckers. Those brands that at the end are very well global brands,
Right.
and that we have found that over the years we're capable of servicing these brands and competing against the very big global agencies.
Right.
So one or two new logos that we bring every year, those are good, because some of the ones will leave. So you have to, like, there's a churn there. and that would be like the challenges of my company. Always trying to get out of the commodity business, always trying to get new skills into the portfolio. This year, we are building skills on video, manage the company in a better way through a system, and then grab new customers, which at the end is the fuel of the business. And that would be like for the business, for the company. At the end, I also have my own personal goals into the future. So I would like to become a chief visionary officer, somebody that's not really into the operation every day,
Right.
and be more into the future, into the strategy, into the vision, bringing highlights and insights to my team, but more as a coach and a visionary into the future. And obviously maintain my touch with customers, but on that same terrain in which I go to the customer not to review the payment terms. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to go to the customer and share with them how the future of digital can benefit them in a more strategic way.
Right.
So chief visionary officer or whatever title that goes around this, that would be like my goal into the next five years or something, and converting into that and bringing yourself out of the operation. It's a challenge, especially when you don't have a family member on the business. Sometimes many of the ICs that I know throughout the world have done this transition faster because they do have somebody that's they have a lot of confidence on this person, because it's either their spouse, their brother, their son, their daughter, and they can continue the operation of the business with a family member. I do not have that. My kids are not into digital, and they are great kids, but they do not understand, nor do they really want to get into the business. So at the end, if I have to put somebody on top of the company, to lead the company, to manage the company, it needs to be somebody that's not part of my family. And that's an additional channel that I have to solve into the next 5 years.
Yeah, those are challenges. I must say, we're very much a family business. So I've got my daughter and Mariana, my wife, and my daughter runs the business for us. So I'm mainly doing all the creative stuff, the strategy and the training, and I like professional speaking, talking at conferences. So I like, I'm doing what I need to do, and I must say it's been very rewarding, and also like a safe feeling that when you've got people in your business that you can completely trust, it's a good thing. But yeah, so you're building a big business. Yours is more really commercial, so it's a good plan to watch how this unfolds with you.
Well, if I can spend 3 month vacation sometime in the next 3 to 5 years, then you'll know I have been successful. If you call me and I am not there, Francois, and I take like 3 days to get back to you, then do not be angry. It's that I'm being successful. If I answer you like in the next 5 minutes, I didn't accomplish my plan.
That's a very good thing. I'm going to slow down on my email responses from now on. Okay, so we've spoken